present, you can get on. This is the only one that should be using audio right now. Okay.
What's up with that? Audio one? James Taylor is Brian.
No, man.
I'm not even on it right now.
Okay. There's only two.
Okay. So I want to look at project 2 really quickly. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Make sure I have it. I'm sure you guys are going to bring up some questions, and I'll need to clarify that for you. So, do you really need to be on right now?
No, I'm in the room.
Oh. Why am I getting a weird echo?
Somebody's mic is on.
I can get out of here.
Yeah, just quit the hangout for now. If that fixes up. There we go. That's better. Okay. So let's look at assignment 2. And like I said, I'm sure you guys are going to have questions about this. So the objective of this project is to design a computer game or interactive activity that teaches kids some topic concept related to a theme in a science center or children's museum. The target audience for the solution you propose will be kids aged 6 to 12, able to read at the 1st grade level. So that's good to keep in mind, you know, about text in the application. But the game activity should still be fun for an adult to play. Instructions. You will begin by defining your topic and your setting. What are you trying to teach? Where will this exhibit be housed? How will your participants interact with the exhibit? Will they use a mouse, keyboard, touch sensors, touch screen, or will there be physical controls integrated like sensors? 2, background research. More than likely, this topic has been taught in different ways in an exhibit setting and outside of an exhibit setting. How is it taught? How can interactive media enhance the teaching of this topic? So the submission requirements, a proposal for the development of this project intended for the stakeholders at the Science Center or museum. That includes, so this proposal is going to the funders at a science center or a children's museum, okay? So keep that in mind. You really want to sell them on this. I feel like when I've given feedback on this project in the past, it was like, well, why are you using a computer in this experience? Why are you using interactive media? It should enhance it in a way that it creates an experience that makes it. Yes, right.
Didn't have kids frequent these places, they don't understand.
No, I think it's, I try to think.
It's a new concept and you're trying to sell it, right?
Well, the proposals that I've read in the past didn't really, you would type in this computer. It didn't really take advantage of, well, it didn't really take advantage of the particular setting. So if you're in a museum or a science center, some of the things that are different than at home are like, it's a public space, right? You have thousands and thousands of kids passing through it. And also, they're constantly on the move. So the experience can't be one where it's like, you level up and then you play. It's like this intense story experience where you're playing for hours and hours. That's not going to happen. You also have to think about the fact that like a lot of these kids have smartphones and they have tablets at home. So you're not going to want to be creating like an app type of a game that they could just download on their app and play at home. How can you take advantage of the fact that they're in a public space? There are other kids around them. So it has to be either the technology or the experience has to be collaborative. It has to be quick to grasp. And it has to take advantage of the fact that there are a lot of people coming through the environment. So that lends itself to some interesting possibilities. What if the system collected data over time? So for example, maybe it was something that they're teaching about identity and fingerprints and how, so now if all these kids interact over a couple of months, think about the collection of information that the system has collected. And then it could reveal, you know, how the individual comes to participate, and it has this database that it's building at all times. So it's taking advantage of the fact that there are a lot of people coming through. It's a quick experience, and it's something that they couldn't get just on, you know, an iPhone or an app, and it's not super involved. So you grasp it quickly, the lesson is taught very quickly. Okay. I do have, you're wondering, I need to see an example. I have one for you. Okay, so the submission requirements, a proposal for the development of this project intended for the stakeholders of the Science Center and Museum that includes an executive summary, a brief overview of what is being proposed, a problem statement. What is the educational objective? Why is it relevant to the museum and important for the target audience to learn? 3, target audience description. I said I've pretty much given this to you. You know it has to be, it's for kids, suitable for, interesting for adults, but suitable for kids, has to be able to be read and understood by someone who is in 1st grade. A description of the game activity and setting, and the setting and how it works. Use diagrams, mock-ups, pictures, etc. to show where the activity will be located within the museum environment and how it will work, explaining the physical controls, etc. Mock-up of 2 key screens of the game activity during play. Your submission should be a professionally formatted PDF file. Adobe InDesign is a great tool for making this PDF file. If you're unfamiliar with InDesign, I suggest reviewing videos on lynda.com. Here's an example project right here. So this is, it's a Fossil Dig interactive game exhibit proposal. Here's the problem statement. He added some sections here. He proposes taking advantage of this technology, which is an IDEM multi-touch table. And what it does, so he has tailored his experience to the hardware he's proposing that they use. He shows how it will be, where it will be housed in the exhibit. This is kind of a little bit backwards because he should have been more specific about exactly where he's proposing it for. You know, I think sometimes students think that they're writing a proposal for me, but he's actually writing the proposal for the Science Center or wherever he was thinking that this was going to be. So the concept is based on, you know, this physical experience of digging and some of the screens. So the mock-ups, you know, there are not a lot of controls there, but then we go to a screen that's going to tell us more about that particular fossil. The benefit of something like this, and I hope he got into that in the writing, I can't remember, but every time they interact with it, they could be discovering a different dinosaur, right? Whereas if you have something like this, there's only one thing in the sandbox, right? So that's a great selling point for doing this in a digital realm. I think this is a good example because it is a physical experience that's different from what you might get on an iPad, because maybe you're digging, you know, virtually digging with your mom and your friends. It's collaborative. It's a pretty quick, you know, you don't have to sit there and play with it for 2 hours to get something out of it. There's some learning that goes on, you know, pretty quickly. So it's collaborative. It's takes advantage of the fact that a lot of people are there. And because it's digital, we can have a lot of different content instead of the physical version of this. Do you want to see one more example? I'll show you guys a project I worked on. This is kind of where the idea came from. I've actually made quite a few interactive exhibits for museums, and so this is sort of based on the things I like to do. But a project that I did like a year or so ago, I'll show it to you. Let's see. Okay, focus here. Where am I going to find it? I know. Okay, let's think for a second. I think I have a PowerPoint presentation where I am talking about it. Well, dang. Shoot. Stop. Do you guys have any questions while I'm trying to find this? There has to be some, yes, of course, something, but it has to be interactive. It has to be physical.
You didn't want to field trip to the science center?
Actually, I did take my students to the science center.
I go there all the time. So.
I was just thinking about when I used to go there all the time, and there was this like game in space.
Mm-hmm.
I would always be at that.
That is so funny. Actually, when I went to the science center not too long ago, well, I'm just going to show you the project
I
itself.
remember when it said something about like micro. I don't know. You were like shrunken down. I don't know,
Yeah.
It's like atoms.
The winner of the interactive digital experience in the San Jose right now is
Which
Have you been
one?
there lately?
Not in a year or so. Why? What do you?
You go in and it's a dark room with 2 giant screens that take up 2 walls, and basically there's these papers laid out. You have a house, a car, a rocket ship, a bus, and something else, and they have QR codes in the corners, and you decorate them. Like my kids go in there and they draw whatever the hell they want on these things, and then you put them under a scanner. It scans it and it projects it into a city on the wall, and it's all moving. There's spaceships, there's flyers, so if you build a rocket ship, it flies around the screen. On the second screen, there's a giant helicopter that flies around, and whatever that helicopter sees shows in that screen. So you have like point of view, and then you have an overarching, and then dinosaurs and dragons and stuff come in, they start stomping on your houses and breaking things, and you go and you touch the wall and you shoot them.
Wow. Now, did it say who made that?
Yeah, I can.
Innovations in art.
Are they local?
I don't know. You know what? Next time we go there all the time. I'll bring it with me. But then you take your picture and you shove it into a 3D printer and it prints it off for you. So my son has planes after planes because I color them for him and then we print them off and then I get to cut them out, put them together, and then he plays with them for a week straight. It is absolutely the most amazing thing I've seen this year.
That's no additional cost than entry. I haven't been there since my daughter was a baby.
I mean, the spaceship brings whatever you have designed in and drops it for you. It is absolutely amazing.
That's
and then
cool.
my son goes in there and fights off the dragons.
That is cool on several levels.
Right, but it meets our requirements. So it is physical. You know,
Yeah.
it takes advantage. It's entertaining enough to be for a brief moment. You know,
There's
yeah.
little tables that the kids can sit at with little stools. I just get up there, and they have these. So it's a dark room, so they have these plant lights,
Mhm.
and they light up and you have markers and scissors and glue, and you just sit there and make it. Whatever you draw on that thing comes up. And if you draw, since it's a 2-dimensional design, the computer has to put in the rest of the stuff. So when you make your rocket ship, it extends everything you've drawn around to the other side of the rocket ship.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's backwards. Like I always write my son's name and it's backwards on the other side, but the computer is doing all that for you.
Wow, that's cool.
Well,
Well, that's the great thing about this project. I'm not asking you to develop it. And, you don't have to worry about how to actually
the algorithm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I want to show you guys this project. This is something I worked on a couple years ago at the Botanical Garden. I don't know if you guys remember this space in Brookings. Can you see? It's really bright in here, but this I'm not gonna go through this like really. I'm just gonna go through it really quickly. But this is the Brookings area that they totally redid a couple years ago. So I got involved with this company. It's called the JCO, and they do themed entertainment spaces. So this woman, that's kind of like her gig. She is like the creative mind, and she brings people together to give ideas. Somehow I got connected with her, and she's like, "You're my interactive expert. We need to create a proposal for the Botanical Garden about what they could do in this Brookings space. So basically, it was me just pulling ideas out of my butt, really. And I sat at my kitchen table. I'm like, it'd be cool to do this, and it'd be cool to do that. And so they kind of hired me as a consultant, and they kind of threw all this information at the garden. The garden said, yes, we want to do this. No, we don't want to do that. Then it became this, I've got to get rid of this junk on my computer. Then it became this, they created final plans out of it. Then it went out for bid for exhibit contractors and regular contractors. So there were regular contractors that had to build out the space, and then the exhibit contractors that were going to build these crazy ideas that I came up with. So like I said, this for me, it was kind of like nothing really that new. My thesis project when I was in graduate school, like 10 years ago, we're making these interactive games where kids would have to jump on pads and stuff in order to play the game. So I used to program these games in Flash, and I used a keyboard simulator hooked up to this USB with like an old computer and hacked it all together. And so was able to create, basically when you stepped on these pads, these sensor pads, it was essentially like a key press. So all my coding, game coding, was just coding the key presses. So I sold a bunch of these games to children's museums. So this was totally in my wheelhouse. I haven't done it in a while, but I've got like pieces in museums. This is actually, this hospital game is in the Monterey Children's Museum. So like I said, I was kind of just sitting there at my kitchen table coming up with ideas for the JCO so that they could pitch all of this to the garden, and the garden could say, yeah, we like this idea, we don't like this idea. These were 6 different ideas. Out of these 6, what they actually ended up wanting in their museum were this one up here with the logs you see up here. My idea here, this wasn't even screen-based. I was thinking, let these be like physical logs coming out of the wall, and you like slam on them, and you create this cacophony of sounds, but you're kind of like being a DJ, but it's like nature sounds, like rainforest nature sounds. And I mean, look, these are just ideas. I wasn't like, and then this one down here, it was called Nature Investigator, where you'd actually scan artifacts from the garden and put them into, it looks like a microwave there, but putting them under some sensor and scanning them and getting more content about it and figuring out where to go in the garden to learn more about it. Yeah, actually. So, what'd you say? Because I built it, you goofball.
I was there. I like saw that with my son. I was like, that's cool.
I built it. Yeah. So these are some of the renderings that they came up with, that the designers came up with. And you can see kind of, if you look closely here, there's some of my pieces are photoshopped in there that they took. So they were actually pretty cool about it. Being brought in at the beginning, proposing these ideas. And then coming back to me, they told the exhibit contractors. The exhibit contractors were this company called Innovations in Art, and they're local, and they've done a lot of local work. Possibly, you might want to look into them. They have a digital group. They have a few developers. If you're really excited about this, I can connect you with some people there. But if you know the Magic House, like the musical chairs, they built those. They do a lot of
just playing all 5 of them.
You were like laying down like that, yeah. Yeah, so they built those. They built, do you know at the zoo when if you walk through the Riverwalk area, and they have like the snakes that are kind of cast iron, they're statues. So they actually just make this kind of stuff for museums and entertainment spaces, but they also do interactive stuff too. So they're a very small group. They're up like on page. Anyway, so it worked out nicely for me because they got the bid. I didn't want to be responsible for building this wall of sound. I was like, I have no idea how to do that. I kind of did, but it would have been, there's a lot of work. It would have been fabrication. I don't have the tools to make that.
And it has to be super durable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So fortunately, they Innovations in Art came back to me and like, how do you want to be involved with this? We could use your help to code some of this stuff. So basically, I got to build this Nature Investigator thing where the kid would take an object and scan it and learn more about it. And I thought it was going to be RFID tagged. I was not sure how this was going to work. But what came about, and I thought, I'm going to have to build this back-end database and interface for them to be able to add new artifacts to the system. you know, because their education staff's going to be like, oh, well, we want kids to be able to scan this. And how about next week we want to add this and this, this. So the solution they came up with, it actually worked out quite nicely for me. It was all HTML, CSS, and responsive. And the way that they tagged the objects were QR codes. So it was beautiful because if they wanted to add new artifacts, then they just put a new sticker on an artifact, and then we use their existing content management system that they use at the garden to maintain their website to build this whole system. So if they wanted to add a new artifact, they took this folder full of files, they duplicated it, and then they could edit all of the content and change, you know, they kept all of the naming conventions the same. So they were, you know, it basically was easy for garden staff to be able to add and remove artifacts from the system.
Did they do that well?
You know, I haven't gone to see it really lately. I saw it, I gave a presentation on this last spring, and so I went and came and took pictures and stuff. And it seemed to be working well. So that was, but the other benefit of doing this in HTML and making it responsive and then putting all of the files on their web server is that it was accessible anywhere. So a mom could use a QR code scanner on their phone and pull the content up on their phone. So if the station wasn't available with the QR, because they have these stations set up with a scanner that reads QR codes, if that wasn't available, you could just use a QR code scanner on your phone to access this content. So it made life a lot easier for me because basically I just had to design a set of files that were generic enough, like as long as you named the images like this and as long as you had these files in place, you could add another artifact.
I already know everything, so I wouldn't have to.
About
My kids know that.
So these
Never heard you out here.
Ever.
Never once.
Oh,
That's my first experience with that.
So this is, can you guys kind of see, this is the wall here that they built, which actually, you know, you pound on the things and it makes sounds. Have you played with it, Alex? Yeah, that was my idea.
It's been a while since I've been there, but I remember seeing the wall.
Yeah, yeah. So they actually built this crazy wall that I came up with. And I was like, really? You're doing that? But they liked it.
Great idea.
And it's kind of cool because it sits, if you can see these doors back here, that's the access, that's the way to get to the climatron. And so it's kind of like this rainforest, carrying in the theme of the rainforest with the sounds that are triggered by the wood. And so this over here is the collection of curiosities. That's the interactive experience I built. And these honeycomb shelves are where they store all the different artifacts, so kids can pull the artifacts off the wall and grab them. So I'll just show you one more thing. They actually talked about it on the news. And you can see there. The collection of curiosities would be it's pretty simple, but it meets the requirement.
Tax reform is sweeping across Missouri. Small businesses are growing. Paychecks are going up.
Okay.
Families are saving more for what
So this kind of meets, I'm showing you guys this because it meets the requirement of what I'm asking you to do, to build something that works well in a physical space, that takes advantage of the physical space, and it actually connects kids even more to the physical space because the stuff that they're learning about and scanning is right there out in nature. So they'll be a little bit more informed and interested in seeing what else is out there. Okay.
Spring photojournalist Randy.
Come on.
I don't want it.
Show me St. Louis.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that's always what Disney shows. The ads always load with the video. And
Yeah. 'Cause it's all
Okay, well, it'll come through in just a second. How many people want to present today? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Why don't you fire it up? Alex, you want to join the Hangout? Or you can pull your files up there.
So the project's due Friday? Is that correct?
Yes, I believe so. Let me double check, make sure I have the dates correct.
Yeah.
Well, kind of, I want to be able to give final feedback today, and then you have until Friday to make final feedback. And also, we can do the same thing on Thursday morning as well. So anybody that wants final feedback on Thursday can do that. But You can also start thinking about project 2. So if you have some preliminary ideas pulled together, we can do, I can give you some feedback on that on Thursday when we do the hangout. No obligation, I just want to make sure everybody has enough time to present their work, you know? Okay, so Alex, let me know when you're ready. This stupid video is, okay.
I would love to present, but it won't let me connect to the Wi-Fi at all.
You gotta go to the new Wi-Fi.
St. Louis Favorite has added a few new things this spring. Photojournalist Randy Schwenker shows us what's new at the Missouri Botanical Garden.
Spring has sprung at the Missouri Botanical Gardens in St.
What'd you
Louis.
say?
And with spring
Yeah,
comes
sure.
a crowd favorite.
So it's playing
We have
now.
our Whitaker concert series. Again,
It's only
this
like a
season.
minute long.
We just
The new
announced the
Wi-Fi is
lineups,
WNFO.
and all that information is
If he's
available
not
on our
showing up on
website.
And new this year, happy hour.
We are calling Thursday nights this summer Sensational
Oh,
Summer Nights.
But I don't have.
It is regular garden admission, whatever you would normally pay. We'll have drinks available for purchase. We have music many of the nights.
And also new, the Edward Jones Hall.
This is a new greenhouse-like classroom that we're using as an educational space for kids and adults of all ages to learn more about plants and the foods they eat and the science work that the Missouri Botanical Garden does.
We're
This
getting
right
to
now
my
is
part.
being used primarily for field trips and school groups and adult groups, so we do have some public hours during the day. And Brookings is also open and free. There's no additional cost for either of these venues.
And the space connects with Brookings Hall.
And that space was renovated to just be a little bit more kid and family friendly, to offer a few more educational and fun activities for parents and kids.
It's a place to get away and learn.
Yep, this is my best name. The curiosity case, where we pull different things from the garden for kids to learn more about. So you might just think that you're not sure exactly what the leaf is, but then we know that it's Southern Magnolia.
Kids can draw and color. And
That's
they even have an
exciting. My
exhibit
work with
of
speech on
tree
the
trunks.
news.
We have a
So anyway, okay, you guys can go back and look at it if you want. But Adama, go ahead and show your stuff. Let's see. Oh wait, I gotta stop sharing here. Let's see. Yeah. Didn't even know this. Stop. Okay, go ahead and take over our screens. And then Alex, click on your icon. I mean, Adama, click on your icon so we can see what you're presenting on the big screen.
You know you did it right when you start having inception.
Adama, can you focus on what you've changed, what's new, since we've already been through some of your stuff? The lower level, what? Yeah, uh-huh.
I think I just recentered, or not centered the line. I had a search bar. New and smaller. Here, the mobile version. The value that had the global discount.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
This is the second version.
First of all, making that alignment change is a world of difference. Do you see that? Okay, I'll shut up. Do you guys have any comments? I don't know if you saw her first critique on Thursday, Can you go up to your wireframes? Just so that you're all on the same page. She did everything correctly now. So go up to the top, go up a little bit. So she has her home page wireframe for the screen. Keep going. Lower level page wireframe for the screen, and then her home and lower level page wireframe for mobile. And then she has her interface designs first set of the home, lower level, and then keep going, Adama. Home, lower level, and then she's doing it again with a completely different design. I think all your changes for your first one are great. To me, this second version, this second design, it feels so washed out. I don't know if you've just lowered the opacity on all of the images, but it looks like somebody just whitewashed the whole interface, and I don't feel like that typeface is doing you any favors. It's bubbly. It does not look sleek and modern at all to me. I think you're just gonna fix. It just looks like a bubbly. It looks like balloons that. It looks like you know those letter balloons.
I was trying to imitate the bigger parts of the logo, but then also didn't want to be too vain, so I was having to try to that.
I think what the logo says it does, just let it be, and just consider, what you're trying to achieve with that second version, and then just make it very simple.
Yeah. I think I was just focused too much on.
Yeah, you were trying to make it connect with your logo, but it doesn't need to.
Think about maybe some kind of a graphic technique, or maybe there's like something, that V, for example, maybe there's some kind of graphic treatment that you can do. Sometimes if you look at different websites, there might be some kind of like little icon that's part of their logo, and they use it as a bullet point, or in other places in the interface to kind of tie that together. So yeah, the V might be, you might be able to.
Right? But it would be something small. But yeah, I like that idea. Otherwise, at first I was like, good design. But yeah, maybe I would take something from that logo. I would use the whole word. I would just use a symbol.
Mm-hmm. And I don't mind anymore the fact that you're moving the logo over to the left for the lower level pages. It doesn't bother me. I'm glad that you're keeping the red V. It just stood out like, wait, did she forget the color of this one? But perhaps there's some creative ways you can bring the red in there. Maybe your links are red. In your mock-ups, you're not showing us any links.
Right.
So maybe when you roll over, you could, like if we're mocking up the film page, you might want to make the film link red at the top.
Yeah.
But I think you're on the right track. If you do anything of this week, I would focus on this last set of interface designs. Just play around with it a little bit more. Keep thinking modern. You might want to look at some other sites that look really, really modern to you and borrow some of those ideas. Because I like the fact that you're going black, white, but really push a little bit more to differentiate it. But it's great. This is exactly what you want to be set up. Oh, can you go back up? Just go back up to a previous page. Yeah, there's no reason to, I don't know. Does it bother you that the way that she has this laid out, one's higher than the other?
No.
I do want a little bit more of a buffer on the edges. So you need a pattern.
Well, I mean, it's a comparison.
What do you mean by a pattern? So there's not it's like Heather Myers is butted up right against the sidewall. I want a little more breathing.
Oh, I didn't even notice that on the home page.
Yeah, I think there's something that happened. So
I just think it's padding.
It might be your frame and InDesign might have cut it off a little bit. Oh. It looks great. This piece that you've put together here, this better go in your portfolio. I mean, all of you guys, this really shows some good thinking here. So please make it as good as possible so you have a nice piece for your portfolio, okay? Got it? Better do it. Okay, good. Alex, I see you're right here. I'm going to jump over to you. Hey, Adama, can you click on her face? The Alex face?
I'm going to ask, once I connect, if I can present mine, since I then have to run my other class.
Right, but are you connected?
I'm working on it.
Okay, so Alex will go right now until you're ready. Okay, Alex. Adama, if you want to just jump off too, just so we don't have so many connections. Okay. Oh, no, no, you're up there. Just kidding, don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I still gotta work on the way in. Let's just ignore that part.
No, let's go to your logo.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about like the layout of the InDesign. Because I have everything in there, it's just
Okay.
InDesign. But I redid the logos, and then I did one logo for one of the designs, and then I did the other website design. Just kind of mix it up a little bit. I kind of doing more of that shape for that.
I think the
Yes.
ampersand is really cool.
Yes. Totally. This totally communicates. It doesn't. It's not. I'm not confused that it's a script club anymore. I mean, you might want to play with adding maybe a couple of white lines in here to make it look like a diamond a little bit. I thought about that, but I think you're on the right track. Keep going.
There's all my wires.
Good.
You draw with yourself? That's nice.
James' obsession. Very clean wireframes.
And there's the first one.
Nice.
Ready.
See, that's what I was saying about the Adamas. I think it looks better when you line them up real sharp and nice so the client can really look through them. It does look good when you do it like that.
Yeah.
That reminds me of like a pamphlet that you're trying to show somebody. But if you just want the client to see that,
Yeah.
so
It looks really good.
I still gotta fix some things on like the homepage. I was gonna like add some words on the image, like welcome or something.
Alex, I think your logo is squished. It got it.
Yeah, it kind of did something funky, but like on the second one, it kind of like about it.
Yes, the proportion is better there.
Yeah, I saw that, but I was just like, I didn't have enough time to go back and fix it.
Yes, I don't. I think it might. Your
logo is taking up a lot of space perfectly.
Yeah.
I think you might play with tying this logo. What about rendering two quick versions of it? Maybe a version that is sparkle and lace this way. That way you'll free up some screen real estate with your social media icon. You can go more over there.
And be smaller.
And think about this kind of your logo is kind of unexpected and kind of. But this is very rectangular. Is there a way the layout's very clean, but maybe you can create that little symbol in here to kind of connect it all together. I think.
How would you do that? That's a good idea, but I don't know that it's specific.
Well, maybe behind here. You could use this instead of solid black or whatever color it is. Maybe we could feel like yeah, something like lambo or something like that. And I'm not seeing this whole color really anywhere else.
Oh, it's kind of like a wood.
Yeah.
I like use that for the brown, but I was thinking about changing.
I like it.
You like it?
I do like it. I think a gold rather than maybe wood, because it's coming across like a gold. And I like the fact that the center of this, is lighter, so it sort of just automatically illuminates your logo.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, just from what I'm seeing here, and then with your second version, it looks semi-masculine because there doesn't seem to be.
Just trying to find more colors that look like masculine.
I like
trying to like.
I think it's masculine, but it could be very easily if you add a splash of a complementary color to those colors. So a mauve, an orange, and a salmon. Just think of the opposite colors on the color wheel, and then just use those as accents in the episode.
I like this side chart because it's a flooded with color.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing the other one the same way.
What is that over there? It's a side street. Oh, side street.
I think that in your other one, when you have the logo integrated into that wood background, it feels a little bit more organic, whereas right here it feels kind of cartoony,
Yeah.
And
I feel corporate and we're cold because it's just white.
It's a little
I don't
cold,
know.
yeah.
I'm not. It's not awful. I'm just saying just something softer.
maybe you could like
or wood, but like, you know, that light kind of wood.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure what to do up there. Cause, like I played with like doing the gray like all the way up there, but it just looked so metal. So I was like,
What is some kind of pattern? Think about like wedding invitations and foreign paper, and instead of, you can let it out exactly the same, but instead of having a hard bar of color, maybe it's a foreign paper or something like that. I have this.
I'll show you an example. I want to let Brian present real quick. Here, Brian, you ready?
Yes.
But I want to show you an example of something just kind of like making it feel really natural and organic.
I haven't gotten the subpages yet, the lower level ones. I have my, that is really hard to see that directly. It's ruining my plans. Sorry. These here are supposed to be like washed out so that the one that you're on is full opacity, but the other ones are lighter color.
What, photographs or what?
These are the nav bar.
Okay.
Yeah, it looked that the projector is ruining the colors.
Okay, I'm going to let these guys make a few comments because I think that they'll have stuff to say.
So my first thought is it's very difficult to read the text with that background of leaves or whatever it is. Now, even if it looks better on your actual screen, it just whatever your content is can't be fighting with your background.
All right.
So you can perhaps, there's several things you can do. You can lighten literally behind your text.
Mm-hmm.
You can see through sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or you can say
Lower the opacity on
the background.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you can choose something different. Your background can be border rather than throughout the whole living space. You have options.
All right.
I was going to say for the
All right.
It's difficult to read.
I would stick to like certain colors. I know maybe like the logo might be specific, like that blue and green, but maybe like find somewhere you can use that yellow. You want to keep that pattern or that green. Because like that blue you have for the navigation bar, it's like no color that. To the rest of the, and you can just like.
That is how we create cohesion, is by repeating colors. And if you're dying to use this, I think the pattern is very cool. I have no idea how it relates to what this is about, and I don't even know what this website is about yet. But if you repeat those colors in other places, it starts to feel cohesive. By just arbitrarily choosing some blues for your navigation, it's like, where the heck is this coming from?
All right.
You have enough color in that background to, you know. But did you notice the other proposals? There was writing, there were wireframes, there were this, and
I have.
Okay.
I have flowchart and base idea wireframe.
Okay, I think that you should nail down your wireframes before you get too far into your design work.
All right.
And also, we need to learn what this is about. I can't say whether this is an appropriate background. I mean, to me, I think this is something about a church in the tropics. I think.
And if you remember, Scott talked about the concept of italics is for emphasis.
Yes.
So it's not for.
Well, this is just how that font is. This is a regular. All right.
I don't even know what this is a website for.
It's a group that my mom is basically the leader of that does like blankets, lap robes, chemo bags, things like that for people with cancer or who are, they have like little things that they give to kids that need help or so on and so forth. So I was trying to go for a nice, friendly.
Right. But I want to see a picture of a happy kid on the front page with one of these cute little doodads that they've made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or even a doodad.
Or a doodad, yeah.
Yeah, show me what you're making.
Yeah.
a tagline to explain what they do.
Mm-hmm.
It would be helpful. It's hard to assess a project if you don't know what you're responding to.
Yeah.
And this is what we're doing. We're solving problems for our client. So unless we know what the client is and what the problem is, we're going to have a hard time solving that problem.
Yeah.
So being clear about that up front is really going to help us give
The
feedback.
main problem is that we care ministry doesn't have a site for anything.
Right.
Right.
So this is perfect.
And but the purpose of the site is not just to be a site.
Mhm.
It's to encourage people to donate, to get involved, to contact. We want to engage.
All right.
And so if they want that to happen, people have to understand what it's all about
Yeah.
Yeah, so write down the goals of the site.
and be
All right.
moved. And we need to be moved by it too.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with the navigation, just looking at that, I don't know if you use the reviews on there. Like, I feel like that's kind of something you could maybe like about us and the products. I think it's either they donate, so they could like send money to help out with the organization, or they buy more stuff to make more good bags or whatever. You know,
All right.
kind of like maybe do like donation page or something. So,
I would have a donation day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Now we-
Try to get together on Thursday morning to present on, because I think you need a couple more rounds of feedback before you turn this in.
All right.
Jaleesa, I'll jump over to you. If you have to go ahead and go. Jaleesa, you're not in the 10 o'clock class, are you? Okay. Pamela, I will, if you want to know what's going on regarding,
I think we definitely need to talk, but I don't know.
that's okay. I'm gonna. Lisa, as you're pulling that up.
That's me.
Okay.
So, I keep it out.
Okay.
So I'm going to send an announcement out. I've got to post some stuff for the class anyway, for the 3D class. Oh, wow. It looks pretty, Jaleesa.
So, I just made it.
It's fine for this purpose, but I don't know if I would present that to a client. I love the way your headers look. It feels really, really elegant and open. It looks good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Your header gets a little lost up there. I would scale down and just make the wireframe smaller on the page. Uh-huh. Cool. Yeah, it's hard to see up there, but it's just because it's so bright in here. Nice. So this kind of is sitting on top, this black box is kind of sitting on top.
it's really white. That's what I see. I mean, it's just a background of the light. I don't know if you know this. Yeah, right. I found you having a book on it. Well, these are actually it's looking really good. And I like it. Yeah, I know. All right, I'll see you.
Thanks.
This is the way the lady is acting. This feels like and with this like background, it's all starting over a little bit. If you want to tell them, that's fine. But if you want white, well, I think if you had this for all white, then this would be enough. But you understand this is color. Maybe it's for that color. So it's a little bit confusing as to what that is. Yes, or yeah. Because the white is just at the top of the design part, it feels like it's part of the design. But if you have more white space, and this would move out a little bit, you can understand that this is the kind of design sitting in the white space. But if you're feeling a little bit of the confused of the white, and it feels that, I don't know. I would really think about where if you like this background for the brand, it's different color. It's like whatever you feel through. Your logo, you're going to feel. You only understand that's kind of really mean.
My computer is about to die, but it's looking really good.